Hello ladies and gentlemen, your boy here once again, Classic Forex speaking. You know how we do it, we simplify, decomplicated. Alright, so today is episode 2 of the daily push analysis. Let's dive into it. Now our first pair that we're going to analyze for the day is Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, let's talk about this pair from the monthly time frame. On the monthly, we have this as a monthly upper zone, the monthly mid-range, and then the monthly lower zone. What exactly are we seeing over here on the monthly time frame? We are seeing what a push the upside, we give us a higher high. Price drop down for higher low. We saw continuation push giving us a new higher high. Drop down for another higher low. Where do you think price should go next? Technically, price should be moving all the way to the upside. So in the monthly time frame, it is very clear that the overall direction is to the upside. Now, once you understand the overall direction to the upside, then what are we going to do? We're going to be looking for buying opportunities from here, which will push us all the way to the upside on Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, we are looking for what? Only buying opportunities to take us all the way to the next one, monthly resistance level. Now the question is, how are we going to be able to pick our buys on the monthly? Let's take it all the way down to weekly time frame to have another closer look of this pair. Okay, so this is also the weekly time frame of Nasdaq. Now Nasdaq on the weekly time frame, let's take our time and also put meaning into the structure that we are seeing over here. Now if you look at the weekly time frame of Nasdaq, we have the weekly upper zone and then the weekly lower zone. Price was fortunate enough to create what? A double top, which represented what? The movement or the reversal to the downside. So we saw a break below the neckline, which was a push. Price never went back for exhaustion, but it continued selling all the way to the downside. So this told us that what? Since price couldn't go up for retest before dropping all the way down, it means that there's more sell pressure in the market. That is why what? Sellers were able to break below this support level and then continuously move all the way to the downside. But after coming all the way and making contact with the monthly support level, what we have seen over here is a strong bullish swap candle, which is an indication of what? Buyers are what? Deeply present on the monthly support level, ever ready to continuously push the market all the way to the upside. Now remember, we said on the monthly that what? We are looking for entries only to the upside, but here on the weekly, this is a downtrend because when price broke below this level, we saw what? A lower low here. This is a lower high. Will sellers be able to bring the market down, or will buyers break above and continue pushing all the way up? That's what we're going to be talking about. Now, since we're looking for entry to the upside, then that means that what? We want to see what? Price break above this what? Weekly lower zone to the upside, so that what? It will become a boost market. Then we can look for retest and what? Be buying all the way to the upside in that manner. So now, Sandra, let's take it all the way to daily time frame. Understand what exactly is going on over here in the daily. How price is going to break above this one resistance level for us to start looking for opportunities to buy all the way to the upside. Alright, so let's take it all the way to daily time frame to continue. Okay, so this is the daily time frame of Nasdaq. Now Nasdaq on the daily time frame, we're also going to take our time and then put what the thorough meaning into the daily. On the daily time frame, we can see what a downtrend here. This was a daily push which give us a lower low, daily exhaustion lower high, daily continuation push new lower low, new lower high. Will sellers be able to bring the market all the way down? I do not think so. So if you look closer at the daily time frame, you can even see that what there's a lot of what buy pressure also here trying to push the market all the way to the upside. But remember, we're only looking for what buys. So that means that what the weekly must align with our buy entry. So by the weekly currently now, okay, or the daily is in a downtrend. So what we can do is to wait for price to break above this resistance level or lower high of the daily to give us a push exhaustion before we can begin for entries all the way to the upside. So now Sunday, let's take it all the way to 4 hour time frame. Understand what this means on the 4 hour before entry above this one weekly resistance to the upside. Alright, so now Sunday, taking it all the way to 4H. Okay, so this is Nasdaq and this is how we are going to pick our entry on this pair. It's as simple as that. So Nasdaq on the 4 hour time frame, let's also put meaning or understanding into it. Alright, now on the 4 hour time frame, we can see that price what moving in an uptrend. We saw a double bottom over here, price broke above the neckline, give us a higher high, we drop down for higher low. What happened? Equal high, equal higher low. We are seeing buy pressure trying to push the market all the way to the upside. But the question is, why didn't we buy here? Like I said, we cannot buy here because this is what a resistance level representing what a downtrend on the weekly and then the daily. So we cannot buy while the weekly and the daily is in a downtrend. So what we can do is to wait for price to pick the necessary buy pressure that it needs from here to the upside to give us a higher high on the 4H. We wait for higher low and we pick our entry all the way to the upside in that manner. Once we're able to pick our buy from here TP1 will be at the next one, weekly resistance. Why? Because when price gets to weekly resistance, it can come down as weekly higher low before price goes all the way up again. So what we're going to do is very simple. TP1 will be at what? Weekly resistance level. TP2 will be at the monthly resistance level. So that if we hit TP1 and price even decides to reverse, we will not find ourselves wanted and we'll still be able to cash out on some profit. So that is it also for what? NAS100. Now, what will make this setup invalid? This setup will become invalid if what? Bias fails to break above to give us the higher high and the higher low that we need for entry. But instead, if it drops all the way down, then this setup becomes invalid for entry. So that is also for what? NAS100. Now let's go to the next pair on the list, which is definitely going to be UJPY. I've been watching UJPY very closely these days very well. UJPY. Right, so I have UJPY over here. Let's talk about UJPY starting on the monthly time frame. Okay, so this is also UJPY on the monthly time frame. We are going to take our time, okay, to dissect this pair, know exactly where it is going in terms of the overall direction or in terms of the monthly. Then we look for entry into that direction. It is very simple. All right, so this is what UJPY on the monthly time frame. We have the monthly upper, the mid-range, and then the lowers. What do you see on the monthly? We are seeing a break of structure, meaning that what? We are in a downtrend. Now look at this. Price first created what? A higher high. Let's write it here. We saw a higher low. Continuation push, new higher high. Price came all the way down, but it couldn't find buy pressure to move all the way to the upside. Instead, what did it do? Instead, hold on. Instead, sellers were strong enough to push the market all the way down, creating what? A lower low. You see lower high, and then since then price has just been moving in this manner. So in terms of the overall direction on UJPY, we are what? In a downtrend. This is what the break of structure, we are in a downtrend. All right, so if you're in a downtrend, then what are we doing? We're looking for an entry on the monthly resistance to sell all the way down to the next monthly support level. So the question is, how are we going to come up with what? Selling opportunities on this resistance level to sell all the way down to a monthly support level. Let's take it further down to weekly time where we can add more meaning and then accurate position on this pair. All right, so let's take it all the way to weekly. Okay, so this is the weekly time frame of UJPY. Now UJPY on the weekly time frame. Let's also understand what exactly is happening over here on the weekly. Now, what I can currently see on the weekly is very simple. Price what? Moving in a range or a consolidation. Why? Because I can see equal level of buy pressure over here. I'm also seeing equal level of what? Sell pressure over here in a horizontal manner. So this is a clear indication that we are in a range or a consolidation period on the weekly time frame. And if you're in a range and price on resistance level, what do? We sell all the way to the downside. So over here on the weekly time frame, we are going to capitalize on the weekly range to bring us all the way to a monthly support level. The same exact explanation that we got from the monthly. The same thing that we are also getting on the weekly. We are selling all the way down to this support level. How do you pick the sell again? Let's take it further to a daily time frame to add more meaning to this technical analysis. All right, so this is the daily time frame of UJPY. Now UJPY on the daily time frame, let's put meaning into it very quick. Let's put meaning into it. All right, so the daily time frame, we have the daily mid-range zone over here, which is what? A strong level of what? Buy pressure, preventing sellers from what? Breaking below. But if you look at the daily very well, the price also moving in the range. Look at this. Horizontal level of buy pressure, horizontal level of what? Sell pressure. So this is also a range or a consolidation period on the daily. But we are looking for a sell. So what do? We are going to wait for price to break below the strong support level over here with a push to the downside, retest, and then we can look for what? Opportunities to sell all the way down to the next monthly support level in that simple manner. So UJPY, we're looking for selling opportunities below this range or consolidation period before we sell all the way to this area. All right, now how are we going to pick the sell? Let's take it further down to the 4-hour time frame to add more meaning. All right, so this is also the 4-hour time frame of UJPY. Now UJPY on the 4-hour time frame, let's explain what exactly is happening on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour time frame, we have 4-hour mid-range zone over here. Where is price going on the 4-hour time frame? We are in a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. Price was able to break below the mid-range zone to the downside, giving us a lower low. We've seen lower high, candle confirmation is forming. But can we sell all the way down from here? No. Selling over here is wrong. Okay, why? Because remember, we are in a daily range. So if you sell over here, price can get to the support and then reverse because we are in a range. So what we are going to do is very simple. We are going to stay patient for price to break below with a push to give us a new lower low, which is below the range of the consolidation on a daily. Wait for retest, and then we pick an entry all the way down in this manner. Okay, so this is where we are going to pick our beautiful selling opportunity to the downside, okay, which is going to be our TP, which is the monthly support level. So your JPY, this is also a full and complete analysis. Stay patient for price to break below, retest, then we look for the opportunity to sell all the way to the downside on UJPY. So UJPY, this is also a full and complete technical analysis. All right, let's go to the next one on the list. I'm going to go after CAD JPY. Let's go to CAD JPY. CAD JPY. All right, so CAD JPY, we're also going to begin from the monthly time frame. Okay, so this is CAD JPY on the monthly. A very beautiful structure here on CAD JPY if you take your time to digest to understand it. Now, on the monthly time for CAD JPY, you have the monthly upper, the mid range, and then the lower zone. Let's look at what is going on here on CAD JPY. Okay, so if you look closely at CAD JPY, all right, you are going to notice that initially we were in an uptrend. Price created a higher high here. Was able to break above this higher high, create a new higher high. But after the next higher low, price couldn't extend further to the upside. Instead, it broke below, giving us a lower low. You see lower high. What happens next? Continuation to give us a new lower low, and the cycle continues in that manner. So CAD JPY, we are looking for selling opportunities. It's that simple, selling opportunities. But currently, price is on the support level of the middle zone. So what do? We are going to wait for price to break below first before the selling opportunities comes in to the downside. So how is the selling opportunity going to come in, or how is price going to break below the monthly mid-range zone for us to sell all the way down here? Let's take it all the way to weekly time frame to add more meaning. Okay, so this is the weekly time frame. Let's put meaning into it very quick as usual. Let's put meaning into it. Alright, so on the weekly time frame, let's try to understand what is going on over here on the weekly. On the weekly time, we have our weekly upper zone. Okay, let's call this weekly lower zone for now. Now, what are we going to do over here on the weekly? On the weekly, we can see the price was currently in a downtrend. Look at this. This was what the break below this was support level, giving us a lower low on the weekly, lower high on the weekly. What happens then? There should be a new lower low, a new lower high. The cycle continue like that before price get to what? The monthly support level. So what we are going to capitalize on next is the new lower low that will form on the weekly resistance or the weekly support level. But that new lower low, we will start capitalizing on that when buyers are able to break below the previous lower low over here, right? So if price is able to break below this low to a downside, we can look for an opportunity to sell all the way down here as the next lower low. Alright, now how is price going to be able to break below? We know that on the weekly, we are also in a downtrend that sellers are in control. So more sell pressure can be able to push below and break below this level before our entry comes in to the downside over here. Let's take it further to the daily time frame to add the next meaning. Alright, so this is also the daily time frame of CAD JPY. Now CAD JPY on the daily time frame, we are seeing almost the exact same time we saw on the weekly, which is this push, this exhaustion, waiting for the next push, the next exhaustion, the cycle continue in that manner. So if on the daily price we should be able to break, we are coming down as well, lower low, lower high, and then we go all the way down in that manner. Simple as that. The same thing. All right, so let's wait for the break below the support level before entry comes into the next weekly middle zone, or the next weekly lower zone, or the next weekly support level. The same thing. All right, let's take it all the way to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so this is the 4-hour time frame of CAD JPY. Now CAD JPY on the 4-hour time frame, let's put our final touch on this pair. Now the 4-hour time for CAD JPY, what are we going to do? Same thing. Wait for price to break below, retest, and then candle confirmation before entry all the way to the downside. So this is where we are going to sell when they break below what happens. So this is what our selling area. Simple as that. So on the 4-hour time frame, if price is able to break below the support level, we get to see what a lower low, a lower high, candle confirmation, and then we sell all the way down to the next weekly support as the weekly lower low before price go up for weekly lower high, and then drops to a monthly support level in that manner. So this is our full and complete technical analysis on CAD JPY. So CAD JPY, that is also it. Let's go to the next pair. Next pair is going to be XAU USD gold. Let's go to gold. Let's go to gold. All right, so what is happening on gold? Gold, we talked about gold, I think, in our pre-market analysis, okay? But let's look at it again. Because we couldn't find entry, the entry became invalid. I will explain that as I keep analyzing this pair. Okay, so this is what? This is XAU USD or gold. Now, gold on the weekly time frame, let's put meaning into it. Weekly upper, weekly mid-range, weekly lower zone. Push the upside higher high, higher low, a new higher high, but technically price couldn't drop back for what? A higher low again before it went all the way up. Why is it that sellers couldn't bring the market back down to create higher low before buyers came in? Because the buy pressure was so strong. Okay, so the buy pressure was so strong enough that when price made contact over here, even though there was what, a reversal candle, sellers still couldn't push the market all the way down because of what? The strong level of buy sensitivity in the market. So buyers were able to break above again and then continue going all the way to the upside. Now, since buyers have been able to break above, it tells us that there's more buyers in the market than sellers. So what are we going to do? We're going to be looking for buying opportunities only to continue buying since price just wants to go up. All right, let's take it all the way to the daily time frame, understand the daily structure and how price will go to the upside and how we can also pick our entry in that direction. All right, so this is the daily time frame of XAU USD or gold. Now, gold on the daily time frame, let's put meaning into it as well. All right, so the daily time frame, we have the daily upper and the daily lower zone. Price also in an uptrend on the daily. You see the daily push higher high, daily exhaustion higher low, daily continuation push new higher high. There's going to be another higher low before price decides to go to the upside. But the question is, since price will come down for a higher low, does it make sense for us to sell over here all the way down? Yes, it does make sense if we decide to pick an entry from here to capitalize on the higher low. Although it makes sense, it's not going to be right because of what? The strong bullish momentum. So gold, we are not going to look for any selling opportunity here to sell all the way down here, but instead we are going to wait for price to come all the way down before we buy all the way to the upside. Why am I saying that we should wait for price to drop down here before we buy all the way to the upside? The answer is very simple, because there's a lot of buy pressure in the market. So even if you're able to find opportunity to sell over here on the forward time frame, price may come all the way down, and then suddenly we may see buy pressure push the market all the way to the upside because buyers are more. Okay, there's more buy pressure than what? Sell pressure. So even if price decides to sell all the way down, it will be for a little while. Buyers comes in, they push the market all the way to the upside. Okay, rendering our entry as well as well. So we don't want to what? Be in that situation. So we're going to wait for price to create its higher high, its higher low. Then from there we can buy all the way to the upside from here. All right. So let's take all the way to a forward time frame and then prepare for the buy. All right. So this is the forward time frame of gold. Now gold on the forward time frame, let's also put meaning into it. So if you look at the forward time frame on gold, all right, price is even what? Giving us what? More sell pressure candles over here, indicating what? It's going to drop all the way to the downside. But like I said, we won't sell. Okay, we only want to trade in that overall direction from the higher time frame. Okay, so we are not going to sell over here to capitalize on the next higher low, but we're going to stay patient for price to get here. Then we can look for opportunities. We can look for opportunities to buy all the way up there in that simple manner. Okay, so gold, we're going to stay patient. Okay, it will take a while before price gets here, but once price is able to get here and we find entry and we pick it all the way to the upside, it's going to be what? Wow, right? So that's it also for gold. Let's take it all the way to the next pair, which is going to be, let's see, NZD USD. Okay, last pair is going to be NZD USD, NZD USD, NZD USD. So let's talk about NZD USD from the higher time frame. You can see that I'm clearly looking for a buying opportunity on NZD USD. But let's talk about NZD USD right exactly here from the monthly time frame. Okay, so NZD USD on the monthly time frame, what is happening? Where is price going? And how can we pick entry into that direction? If you look at the monthly time frame, we have the monthly upper, the monthly mid-range, and the monthly lower zone. Price was able to break below this support level to give us a push, which was a lower low. Price went up for lower high, LH lower high. But after lower high, we don't see any form of sell pressure trying to bring the market down. But we only see what? A strong bullish move, which has been able to break about the monthly middle zone. So since this strong bullish move has been able to break about the monthly middle zone, that means that what? buyers are in control, they are going to push the market all the way up to the next resistance level. But how can we pick entry to chart the next resistance level above? Let's take it all the way to the weekly time frame so that we can add more details. All right, so this is the weekly time frame of NZD USD. Now NZD USD on the weekly time frame, we have a weekly mid-range zone over here. So on the weekly, we can clearly see the break above this support level or this resistance level or the mid-range zone of the month. We can clearly see what the break above, which means that buyers are going to push the market to the upside, create a higher high, create a higher low, and then we go all the way up in that manner. So I like to see what the next higher low or the next high half the weekly there, the next high low, and then another higher high here to complete the move, which will make contact with the monthly resistance level. So for now, what we're going to do is that we're going to pick entry all the way up here to reach the next weekly resistance, which is going to be 7 as the next higher high of the weekly. So how do we pick buys from here to the upside? Let's take it again to the daily time frame to add more meaning. Alright, so this is the daily time frame of NZD USD. Now NZD USD on the daily time frame, we can clearly see over here that price has also broken structure on the daily, moving to the upside. So the daily time frame, this was what? Hold on. This was at the support level. Price broke below to give us a lower low. We didn't see any lower high here to sell. Price broke above, giving us what? An uptrend. So this break above has also been able to break above the resistance level of the daily or the monthly mid-range zone, and it's also going all the way to the upside. So what we are expecting, okay, what we are expecting to do over here on the daytime is for price to retest, and then we can buy all the way to the upside to capitalize on the next higher half of the weekly. So that move is going to happen on the 4H. So let's take it to the 4H time frame. Now this is the 4 time frame of NZD USD, and this is exactly how we're going to pick our entry to the upside on this pair. This is the long position. Let's see. Okay, very good. So this is what NZD USD and how we are going to pick our entry all the way to the upside. It's that simple. It's that simple. Right, so NZD USD, if sellers are able to push the market from this resistance level all the way down here to create the next 4 each higher low, they look for candle confirmation and then we buy all the way to the upside. So NZD USD is also a full and complete technical analysis. We are waiting for retest. Okay, so any form of retest is accepted. Price can move up, drop down. Price can drop down from here. We just want to see what retest before entry confirmation to buy all the way to the next resistance as the weekly higher high. So this is also a full and complete technical analysis. Guys, if you love what I'm doing over here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and comment, share this video to your friends in the game, and then we all can make money together. Remember, traders that stay together make money together. And if you're looking for the best course and mentorship in the forex market right now, hit me up in the description below and we can talk about it. Thank you for joining in. Stay classy and trade classy, guys. Peace. I'm out.